So in this video we're going to be looking at air ducting to the brakes. Got a great kit from Performance Delta, comes with everything. You've got the adapters for the fog lights, the hosing, the back plates for the brake disc, clamps, adapters, all this kind of stuff. So let's get cracking and have a look at how this is all going to fit together. So this is the kit that you would receive, full kit to do everything for air ducting to your brakes. So straight away you've got the adapters that go into where your fog lights would be, really nicely made. So yeah, they're great. All the adapters so should bolt on to all the original fixings where your fog light goes. You've got adapters. So basically you've got your inner brake, inner arch plastic covers. So basically you find out where you want it, you can drill a hole, and then you can put these either side and they bolt through with a bolt supplied, and you're a hose up to that side and then a hose out from there. So it's a really nice way of doing it. You've got backing plates. So these are stainless, all stainless steel. Looks like it's been TIG welded. So you get two of those for going to replacing your standard rear panels for your brake discs. So they're great. Full set of hose clips. And then I believe it's 2 meters worth of nice quality ducting. So yeah, you get all that in the kit. Should be ready to rock and roll. So once you've jacked up the car and got the wheel off, one of the first things I want to do is take off this plate at the back and replace it with the new one with the ducting on. Obviously you have to take off the caliper, the disc, and get the bearing out. So I'm going to crack on. I've undone my front steering. You don't need to do that, but I was just doing it for something else I was checking. So I've got ease of movement here, but maybe just turn the steering, get it out here. You've obviously got these two that hold on the caliper. You've got a 17mm behind. So most probably, nope, it's going to be a 12 then. It's going to be a 12 on the back. Undo those two. Once you've got those two bolts out, caliper should slide. Best thing to do is get a tie wrap or something, or place it up like this. Certainly you don't want to hang it on the hose and put stress on the hose. So once you've got that out of the way, you've then got this bracket. You need to take the pads out, so quickly take the pads out, remember which side they went. Then you've got these 17mm bolts at the back. That takes off your brake caliper carrier. You've then got a 10mm here for the ABS sensor. Take that out, take the sensor out, so when you pull the hub, you don't ruin the wire of this. So that's a 10mm on there. Then useful to get the disc off. So you've got two screws. These are coming out easily. They've had copperies on them before. If you have difficulty getting these out, you might need an impact screwdriver. You can get them from Halfords for about £15. And basically they're a driver that you put on there, hit the end of it, the impact turns it. But it's always a good idea to put copperies on those screws. Get your disc off. So this is the hub that you've got here. You can see that the plate is crushed between it. You obviously need to separate this to get to this plate. So it's held on by 4 bolts at the back. Those I believe are 14mm, yes. So undo all 4 of those. Once you've got the 4 bolts out, that becomes loose. So what you have at this point is, if your car is, well, probably any of them, and this hasn't been replaced, is this slides into the upright and it can get rusted and stuck. So if it's stuck, you're most probably going to have to put a hub puller on here, which isn't the normal type with the bolt, because it won't work. What you need is the one that bolts on here and then has a slide hammer, and you slide it off. I've had these off. These are newer rear guards, so I've had this off and I put copperies in. So so it's coming out straight away. So that's fine, but it's this surface that rusts within here, and that's where you have a problem, and then you need to get the hub puller to get it out. So there you've got your upright. This is a good time to clean in here. If this has got built up rust bits, maybe get a hammer and a screwdriver and knock all those off. I've done all that previously. I'm just going to put a wire wheel in here, clean here, and then clean this front surface. There you go. And then this is the new stainless steel, nice and thick stainless steel plate that's going to go on here. So basically this is going to clamp between, like the old one, and that's your air feed into the back of the disc to give it some cooling, and that's obviously going to come from the front end, but this is the first bit to get installed here, and it just goes between these two. So cleaned up this face. I'm going to put some copperies in here, just spread it around on the inner face there. You don't want it on the front, so scrape that off. So now we're ready to put the things back together. What I would suggest is some screw lock, just a little bit on these bolts that hold the bearing. Slide a couple in from the top. Your plate then goes in, obviously with the air duct at the front, top. You then got your bearing. You want the ABS sensor at the top. Slide that in and then get your bolts started. Slide those bolts in. Do all 4 bolts, they're 40 to 44 pounds foot. Once you've got those 4 bolts done up, put your ABS sensor back into the top of the bearing, put your little bolt back in. Now we're ready to put the brake disc back on. Because of the little screws, it has a way of going on, which is that way. Dab a little bit of copperies on your screws. So that's that. You then need to look at doing your caliper bracket. So that slides on like that. Get your 2 big bolts. Do those up. They are up to 44 pounds foot. Once you've got the bracket on, you can slide your brake pads back in. You can put a little bit of copperies on the back of them if you want to, where the cylinder meets and where the feet meet on the front. Now you've done that, you've then got, bring your caliper back down. Don't need to do any bleeding or anything because you haven't moved anything. Then get these bolts, line them up with the inner section. Hold that again with a 17mm spanner. Do these up. These are 19 pound foot. So that is all now done up on the brake side of things. This is your new duct going in with this nice solid plate behind. This is all stainless with some TIG welding. Looks very nice. So that was easy enough, wasn't it? So that's good. Now we're going to be getting into the back wheel arch, the front side of it. So this panel comes out separately to the top one. So you need to take out some of these clips, and then underneath there are a couple of clips and some screws. So I've undone the clips underneath and the bolts. This works the way used as a separate part. Once that's out the way, you can get in and see the fog light here. So you've got some wiring going to it, and then you've got a fog light here. Got some screws going into the back of the plastic trim. Need to get those screws out. Well, it's probably best to undo the electrics and then take the screws out. I'll just show you quickly what I'm looking at. So that's the back. You've got some power lead going to it and at least 2 screws. Let's see if there might be a third on the other side that I can't see at the moment. So let's get that out. So once you've unscrewed the 3 screws, you've got the whole assembly out, and the new part will literally just screw into those 3 screws. New screws are supplied, and I'm going to screw in the new duct. There it is, all mounted at the back. There's actually 4 screws that hold it all on. So all mounted on. Then if you quickly come around to the front, so that's what the front looks like. Very neat, nice install. So this wire that's hanging down for the fog light, just going to take a cable tie, and I'm going to sort that out by just tying it up to the other wire. So just tied that up there. So what I've got is I've pushed on the hose that came with the kit. I've pushed it onto the front duct, get it over the hump, get it on a bit, and then obviously you're going to be putting a hose, the supplied hose clamps around it. Just trying to see sort of how much flexibility we've got here and where I can put the hole into this panel. I want to get it over as far into the corner as possible, because really we're sort of doing that into here. You're going to want to you don't want to come out straight into this, because obviously you've got the turning of the steering and everything. It's a 57mm hole, which is a 57mm hole saw bit, so you can get those easily, and then you can mark up the holes afterwards, but that's where I'm going to go in. So this is the hole I'm drilling. Just started using a 57mm hole saw. A little bit of neatening up there needs to be done, but that's what we're looking at. So it's a good size for it. Let me just get a knife and I'm just going to tidy this up. So one of the main reasons for redoing this video is because I got this hole wrong. So basically my hole was too far out into the wheel arch and too low, and the wheel hit it on full lock. So what you need to do is you need to get that hose entry as far into the edge as possible and up close to this join line, so that's where the other piece of plastic comes down to, so you can't get it up much higher. So yeah, you're getting it up. So I was going to replace the whole thing, but obviously I was trial and erroring it anyway, and very nicely Performance Delta are sending me a blanking plate to fill in that hole that I made the mistake, so that's very kind of them. So really do a good shout out to Performance Delta, have a look at their stuff. So that, I'm not saying it was easy, because there were some contours there that it really didn't like, but trial and error, I've been able to bolt it up, and that should be a lot better. Mount this back up with a couple of clips just on the top so I can bend this forward, and then I'm going to measure the hose to go onto here. Obviously you're going to want to put, before you push the hose onto here, you're going to want to get 2 clips onto the hose, so you don't forget those. Taking a little bit of a guess here, try to measure where it's going to go to, and then I'm going to cut it. Okay. And then you've got the wire, so you need to cut the wire. Let's get a pair of snips. This is when you hope you've done it alright, so remember to put that clip on. So, put my clip on. Put my hose onto my joiner piece. So that looks pretty good actually. It looks like it's going to go up into. So that is a good length. Right, let's bring the hose clip down. So do your inner hose clip up. Not too tight, 'cause you don't want to break the plastic. I'm going to put that all back in. So we're now doing the final bit. I've turned the steering fully this way, so that is the longest this hose is going to need to be. I'm not going to lie and say getting this on was easy. It really isn't. This is oval, this is round. Kind of basically just had to get the edge on, pinch the sides together to make it oval, and kind of just ease it over. I've got 1 metal bit, 2 metal bit. I think I've got 3 on, and then I'm going to put a hose clip in the middle, hose clamp in the middle, and hopefully that's going to be fine. As I said, this is on full lock, so now I'm going to just measure out the hose that I need. I'm going to want to, I think I'm going to cable tie it to the top wishbone, cable tie it there, bend it out to here, and then cut what length I need. So there is the passenger side done. All looks pretty neat. I put the cable tie here on the upper wishbone. There is flexibility there. That is on full lock this way. So what I'll do is I'll video the turning motion back the other way. So I fitted it in the new location, all looking so much further into the wheel arch, so that's loads better. I'll cable tie it to the top, and there is no further you can get that into the body, so that's what you're trying to do, is trying to get it real far into the arch. So happy with that. Nice revised version. Didn't want anyone to be putting holes in the wrong place. Looks like it's going to sit in its normal straight compression. Okay, yeah, it looks really neat. These sort of bulkhead connectors look really neat. Yeah, it's really nice. Rather than just cutting a hole and feeding a pipe through, it's a pretty professional way of doing it. So it's all gone really well.